Thursday, the 19th of March 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 6:30 p.m. news live on BNews1. These are the headlines. Cameroon's highest court has delivered a dramatic twist in one of the country's most sensitive and closely watched cases. The Supreme Court of Cameroon has overturned an earlier ruling against Anglophone separatist leader Julius Sisiku Ayuk-Tabe and 9 others, reopening proceedings that date back to their 2019 life sentences. The landmark decision orders a fresh hearing before a newly constituted panel, raising new legal questions and fresh political stakes in the ongoing Anglophone crisis. And also a wave of emotion and controversy has followed a landmark ruling in Yaoundé, where the High Court of Mfundi has sentenced Dagobert Nwafo to death by firing squad for the brutal murder of the 5-year-old Mathis Wanji. The decision, seen by many as a firm stance against violence crime, is already stirring renewed debate over the use of capital punishment in Cameroon as the defense signals its intention to appeal. That was all for the headlines. Developments and more coming up next. It's a pleasure meeting you once more, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jackie Yebele, your news anchor. As announced in the headlines, Cameroon judiciary has reopened one of the most sensitive cases linked to the Anglophone crisis after the Supreme Court of Cameroon overturned a previous appeal ruling against separatist leader Julius Sisiku Ayuk-Tabe and 9 others, ordering a fresh hearing that could reshape the legal and political trajectory of the long-running conflict. Fabrice Kezinga.
The Supreme Court of Cameroon has overturned a previous ruling by the Central Regional Court of Appeal in a high-profile case involving 10 Anglophone separatist leaders, led by Julius Sisiku Ayuk-Tabe. The decision, delivered during the court's third hearing in Yaoundé, relates to an appeal filed on March 3, 2020. The group had challenged the September 18, 2020 judgment, which upheld the August 20, 2019 verdict of the Yaoundé Military Tribunal, sentencing them to life imprisonment. The separatist leaders were convicted on several serious charges, including aiding and abetting terrorism, acts of terrorism, hostility against the state, secession, revolution and insurrection, as well as the propagation of false information. These charges stem from their alleged roles in the Anglophone crisis and calls for the creation of an independent state. In a brief ruling lasting less than 5 minutes, Justice Marie-Louise Abomo annulled the earlier Court of Appeal decision and ordered that the matter be sent back for a fresh hearing before a newly constituted panel of judges. The 10 leaders were initially arrested in Abuja, Nigeria on January 5, 2018, before being transferred to Cameroon, where they stood trial. Reacting to the ruling, prominent lawyer Akere Muna described the decision as unprecedented, given the politically sensitive nature of the case. He, however, welcomes the move as a legal victory for the appellants, noting that it provides them with another opportunity to present their case under further conditions. The Supreme Court's decision effectively reopens proceedings in one of the most closely followed cases linked to the Anglophone crisis. Observers now await a new hearing at the Court of Appeal, which could have a significant legal and political implications.
And also, the High Court of Mfundi has sentenced Dagobert Nwafo to death by firing squad for the brutal killing of the 5-year-old child Mathis Wanji, a case that sends shockwaves through Yaoundé. While the ruling delivers a strong message against violence crime, it also revives debates over the application of capital punishment in Cameroon. Reports. The verdict has fallen like a hammer. On March 18, 2026, the High Court of Mfundi sentenced Dagobert Nwafo to death by firing squad for the murder of the 5-year-old child Mathis Wanji. The brutal crime had deeply shocked public opinion in Yaoundé, particularly in the Ngwaikeli neighborhood where the incident occurred on May 10, 2025. According to facts presented in court, the tragedy followed an altercation involving the victim's father. The young child was fatally stabbed, triggering widespread emotion and condemnation across the community. At the end of the hearing, the panel of judges, chaired by Gertrude Ekasi, found the accused guilty and imposed the harshest penalty under Cameroonian law. In addition to the death sentence, Dagobert Nwafo was ordered to pay 500 million CFA francs in damages to the victim's family and 25 million francs in legal costs. The ruling aligns with the submissions of the prosecution, which describes the crime as extremely grave and called for the minimum penalty. The defense team has strongly contested the judgment. Lawyers for Dagobert Nwafo argued that the evidence used to establish guilt was flawed. Having initially pleaded for acquittal, they have announced their intention to pursue all available legal remedies, including an appeal. In Cameroon, the death penalty remains part of the penal code for most serious offences, including murder. When imposed, execution is carried out by firing squad. In practical terms, as explained by Valerie Barini, counsel for the victim's family, the condemned person would in principle be taken to a public place where an execution squad carries out the sentence. However, in reality, Cameroon has observed a facto memorandum on executions for several years. For the family of young Matisse, the verdict represents a form of judicial recognition of their loss. However, the legal process is far from over, given the defense's intention to appeal. Beyond the courtroom, this case reigns debates over the application of the death penalty in Cameroon, balancing the demand for justice with broader human rights considerations. The National Moon Crescent Commission has officially announced that the celebration of the Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of Ramadan 2026, is expected to take place this Friday, March 20th, pending the sighting of the lunar crescent. The announcement follows consultation and astronomical analysis conducted by national and international experts. The Commission calls on the Muslim community in Cameroon to remain prayerful and united while awaiting final confirmation. Afternoon observation. It also extends wishes for a peaceful and spiritually fulfilling celebration under the values of faith, sharing, and solidarity. Onto the Northwest region, the city of Bamenda witnessed a landmark moment this March 19, 2026, as My Lord Chief John Beriniwe Tata was ordained auxiliary bishop during a solemn ceremony at the Metropolitan Cathedral of Bamenda. And the details of this historic moment is in the following reports. The city of Bamenda came alive this Thursday, March 19, 2026, during a historic event for the Catholic Church in West Africa. The episcopal ordination of My Lord John Beriniwe Tata, appointed as the first auxiliary bishop in this part of the continent. The solemn ceremony took place at the Metropolitan Cathedral of Bamenda in the presence of numerous religious and administrative authorities, as well as a large gathering of faithful who came to witness this exceptional moment. Representing the head of state, Paul Atanganji, Minister of Territorial Administration, attended the celebration, highlighting the importance attached to the event by public authorities. This ordination, which coincided with the feast of Saint Joseph, carries deep symbolic meaning. Saint Joseph, a figure of faith, humility, and responsibility, embodies the values that the new bishop is called to uphold in his pastoral mission. Beyond a spiritual dimension, this appointment marks an important milestone in the history of the Catholic Church in West Africa, underscoring its growth and increasing influence. In an atmosphere marked by devotion and solemnity, various speakers praised the journey, commitment, and human qualities of My Lord John Beriniwe Tata, who is now called to assist the Archbishop in leading the diocese and strengthening the church evangelization mission. This event will remain etched in memory as a historic moment, full of hope and renewal for the church and the faithful of the region. Onto something else, with Cameroon set to host two major international events, the 14th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization and the upcoming visit of Pope Francis. Concerns are mounting over the pace of ongoing infrastructure works. In response, the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Cortez, accompanied by the Governor of the Central Region, Naseri Paul Beya, carried out an inspection tour along key project routes in Yaoundé. The visit aimed to assess progress on the ground and ensure urgent measures are taken to meet deadlines. And here is an excerpt of the minister.
Yaoundé will be the world capital of business, and it was very important knowing that the delegation are coming on the 22nd, 23, 24. It was very important for me to make sure that the image of the city is preserved, and I'm happy to see that we can afford to address what has not been addressed by the city mayor, and happy to see that the itinerary that we have reserved for Popo, for the high visit of Popo in Cameroon, through the greatness and the leadership of our head of state, they will come in this country and see that Yaoundé is a beautiful country. So it's a beautiful city. So I'm happy for this visit. Tomorrow night, I will do another visit. On 22nd, I will do another visit.
A new chapter has opened in health cooperation between Cameroon and the United States of America within the launch of a joint steering committee tasked with strengthening coordination, accelerating reforms, and delivering sustainable health outcome. Report. The Public Health Emergency Operations Coordination Center, HOOPS, hosted on Tuesday, March 17, 2026, the inaugural meeting of the Joint Steering Committee for Health Cooperation, a strategic body established under the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the governments of Cameroon and the United States of America. Co-chairing the meeting with the acting chargé d'affaires of the U.S. Embassy in Cameroon, Mr. John Robinson, the Minister of Public Health praised the quality and longevity of the partnership between the two countries. He highlighted the significant impact of the U.S. support in strengthening Cameroon's health system, particularly in the fight against major diseases such as HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, as well as in managing health emergencies, including COVID-19 and cholera. The Joint Steering Committee will be primarily responsible for strategically overseeing the Memorandum of Understanding, tracking process, coordinating interventions among various actors, and proposing solutions to challenges encountered. At the core of this enhanced cooperation are several key priorities: improving care for people living with HIV, reducing malaria-related mortality, particularly among children, strengthening maternal and child health, optimizing epidemiological surveillance systems, modernizing laboratories, and digitalizing the health system, gradually co-financing interventions to ensure sustainability. According to the minister, these objectives reflect a clear vision, building a resilient, autonomous health system capable of effectively meeting the population needs. Opening the session, the Minister of Public Health called on committee members to demonstrate commitment and innovation in translating strategic orientations into concrete actions for the benefits of the population. The first session of the Joint Steering Committee for Health Cooperation thus lays the foundation for a renewed, more structured partnership firmly focused on the sustainable improvements of Cameroon's health system. Beyond our borders, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye of Senegal has ordered action, including a possible appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And elsewhere, the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda have renewed efforts to ease tensions after talks in Washington. The roundup of the international news with you, Micheline Bilowa.
Tensions are rising in African football as Senegal has called for an investigation into alleged corruption within the Confederation of African Football. The dispute follows CAF's decision to award the 2025 African Championship title to Morocco. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has instructed the Minister of Sports, Kadim Diagni, to take all necessary steps, including referring the case to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Authorities insist the integrity of African football must be upheld. The Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda have renewed their commitment to easing tensions following high-level talks held in Washington on March 17 and 18, 2026. Representatives from both countries discussed security concerns and the ongoing conflict in eastern DRC. The meeting marks another diplomatic effort to reduce hostilities and promote stability in the region, which has been affected by recurrent violence and strained bilateral relations. In Morocco, fuel prices are rising as a direct consequence of escalating tensions in the Middle East. The conflict has disrupted global energy markets, leading to increased cost of oil imports. As a result, consumers and businesses in Morocco are feeling the impact, with transport and commodity prices also expected to rise. Authorities are monitoring the situation closely as concerns grow over inflation and its effect on household purchasing power.
In our sports page tonight, head coach David Pagu has officially unveiled a 26-man squad for the FIFA Series 2026 as the Cameroon national football team prepare for international friendlies against Australia and China later this month. The squad features a mix of experienced players and emerging talents across all departments. The list has 4 goalkeepers, 10 defenders, 9 midfielders, and 4 attackers. And also, Cameroonians have been reacting to the controversial CAF decision to strip Senegal of the AFCON 25 title. And now, let's have their excerpts compiled by Fabrice Kedinga.
Based on FIFA, the CAF rules and regulations, I think that the person who is supposed to be blamed at this point in time is supposed to be the referee. Why did the referee not stop the game? And what is the report? Because after every game, a referee is supposed to issue his report. And what is the content of the referee's report? Did the referee state in his report that the Senegalese team stopped the game, but for which, unfortunately, once again, that's going to be against the referee, because based on the rules for the game, it is the referee who was supposed to attest that the Senegalese team walked out of the pitch.
But I think that this decision really needs to be reviewed, because as it stands now, Senegal is already threatening to take it to the Court of Arbitration for Sports, and Senegal may have a good shout when they reach CAS, because at the end of the day, they eventually played the game, finished the game, and won fair and square on extra time. CAF's AFCON regulation clearly states in Article 84 that if a team withdraws, refuses to play, and within 15 minutes does not show up on the pitch, then they are considered to have completed the game and the opponent wins by 3 goals to 0. But then the big question is, but before that, rules are rules, accepted. But then the big question is, why forfeit when Senegal eventually finished the game? And the referee let Senegal finish the game. If they consumed 15 minutes off the pitch, why then they really go on with the game?
I think that this one is particularly very troubling, because first of the timing of the punishment, and then next the type of punishment. Now they left the pitch, yes, they stopped play abruptly, but we have to equally consider the fact that they returned to pitch, the game played to its completion, it went to extra time, and then of course they snapped that 1-0 victory. This factor has to be put in place. So I think that CAF should have limited itself at the level of suspending some players, finding some financial punishments on the federation, particular players, and probably the technical department, not up to the extent of stripping them off the AFCON title. This one is particularly very, very troubling, because it equally involves a nation like Morocco. You know, there was possible a lot of controversy surrounding Morocco and the African Cup of Nations, right from their opening games in the competitions, right through to their qualification to this day. So this only adds the fire, or this only adds fuel to the fire that was already.
The president of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice Motsepe, has reacted to the controversial decision to strip Senegal of the 2025 African Cup of Nations 2025 title, a move that continues to spark outrages across the continent. Speaking amid mounting criticism, Motsepe defended the integrity of CAF's judicial process, emphasizing that the decision was taken independently by the organization's disciplinary and appeal bodies. He maintained that these structures operate without external interference and are guided strictly by established regulations. And here is an expert from the CAF president, Dr. Patrice Monsipe.
I've been informed of the ruling by the CAF Appeals Board concerning the appeal by Morocco relating to the AFCON Morocco 2025 final match. And I previously expressed my extreme disappointment with the incidences that took place at the final match. And the important thing of what happened on that final match is it undermines the good work that CAF has done over many, many years to ensure that that there's integrity, that there's respect, that there's ethics, that there's governance, as well as credibility of the results of our football matches. The occurrences, those incidences at the final match of the AFCON Morocco exposes is the work that we are still dealing with concerning the suspicion and distrust. It's a legacy issue. When I became president, one of the major concerns was the impartiality, the independence, and the respect of referees and match commissioners. And a lot of good work has been done, but there continues to be suspicion because it's a legacy issue. It's something that has been there for many, many years, and we consistently deal with that because that's critically important. Another important matter that these incidences at the final match brought to the fore is the independence and the respect of our judicial bodies. In choosing the members of our judicial bodies, we followed a different path, different from what had been the case before. We invited each member association and we invited every zone, the 6 regional areas or the 6 zones in CAF, to give us names of respected judges and respected lawyers, because it is important that the decisions of our disciplinary board, the CAF disciplinary board, and the decisions of the CAF appeals board is viewed with the respect and integrity that's very important to us. So if you look at the composition of those bodies, they reflect some of the most respected lawyers and judges on the continent.
This is the end of this 6:30 p.m. news live on BNews 1. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for being with us. See you soon. Goodbye.